Thanks for staying with Facing the Nation. Well, I've been promising for the last 2 weeks to have Sherod Duncan. So Sherod will be the man of the moment, but I'm not going to introduce him to you just yet. As you know, just a reminder, especially for those of you who are now joining our program, the reason that I'm going to have these two youths, talking to these two youths on Facing the Nation today is because local government elections are in the air. As you know, these elections are very, very serious to our nation. We have not had them for a very long time. I keep telling people, I think some mistakes may be made as we prepare for local government elections 2016. That is because of the fact that we have not had them for a very long time. It's a learning process for so many of us, even people who are taking part, who are vying for various positions and so on in various seats. So I think it's going to be a learning experience. The viewers are still learning. The public is learning. I am still learning. So again, it is new for us, and we're happy though. We're happy that we're having local government elections because it will definitely put our communities on better grounding. For those of you who also follow me on the public interest, that's the program I moderate with the president. You'll hear this week, that's this evening, that he raised the issue of, bettering our communities and getting people more involved and so on, which I'll also be talking to these two young persons about. And that's bettering communities, that is local government elections aside. But enough from me. Let's now talk with Aurdell Glasgow and, of course, Sherod Duncan. Both of them are a big part of local government elections 2016. Welcome to Facing the Nation to you both.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice
you,
to be here.
Anchor.
Nice to be here.
Thanks for
Alright.
the invitation.
You see, they looked all relaxed and ready to go. So now for the next few minutes, they'll be telling you why you should vote for, why you should put your X at Aurdell Glasgow or Sherod Duncan. First off, Aurdell, let's talk about you.
Yes.
Let's talk about your constituency. Where, if we were voting, where the people who will be voting for you, where do they live?
Okay, the first thing, my NDC is Hague, it's called Hague Blankenberg. However, that NDC is comprising of 3 villages, Hague, Den Amstel, and Blankenberg. I'm residing in Den Amstel, and there are 9 constituencies, and
Okay.
I fall in constituencies number 7.
Number 7.
Yes, and the great thing about this is there are 406 persons that are eligible to vote.
In that one
yes,
constituency.
in that constituency.
Okay.
The good news is, or the surprising news is that the PPP did not put a candidate there. So by default, we would have already won. And we're not taking that for granted. We are still campaigning.
You shouldn't. You should still campaign because the people still need to hear what you are bringing to the table. Because then you don't want to have people not coming out to vote and staying home. So in actuality, there's no candidate that's running against you, because I noticed that there are 2 other youth groups who have in a sense jumped into the race. So no one from
Yes, we had no person, nothing. We have nobody against us.
So, Aurdell, this is like Christmas for you, huh?
Well, yeah.
But you're still working. All right.
Course.
I mean, I'm happy for you, so I should begin to say congratulations to you for that. But let's talk about some of the issues in the community that you would want to address, and you would want to convince people, hey, still come out and vote for me, because these are the things that I will be addressing.
Exactly. First thing first, I was born and raised in Den Amstel. That's the beautiful thing. And I think, actually, I know I am most suitable for this position. Why do I say this? I want the opportunity to bring back. First thing, most communities are highly politicized, and they're divided. And like I was saying earlier, Miss Sonia Noel would have said, we are no longer our brother's keeper, which it is true. We are no longer our brother's keepers. So what I want to do personally, and along with the APNU+AFC body, is to bring back communities, bring them back together. Everybody's just undivided, nobody cares, everybody's losing hope. Young people, some of the seniors, everybody's just losing hope, and we don't want that anymore. Den Amstel, I can remember as a child, Den Amstel, it was beautiful, beautiful. You could have done almost anything and not having to worry thieves, nothing, nothing. Now we have in this, one of our villages that I would have mentioned, Hague, we used to have a library there. It's no longer there. So myself and others, we're going to work to get that back. We want to bring back that. We also want to have things like, we want to have functioning youth groups. We just don't want a youth group because
Just
it's
for
a youth group.
sake.
Exactly. And one of the major things in the NAMSTEL is the campsite. The campsite, it's deteriorated, it's gone, it's finished with. And on Tuesday, the Honorable Minister, Miss Nicola Henry, she was over at Region 3, and we had a meeting, a youth meeting she was speaking about. And she made us, she made it publicly that $30 million had already been allotted for the NAMSTEL campsite. So I think that's a plus, and everybody should know that the NAMSTEL, along with Hague Blankenberg, will be coming back.
Okay, wonderful.
We are back, yes.
Before I talk to Sherod a bit,
Yes.
do you find thus far that the youths have been gravitating to you, toward
Yes.
you? Mm-hmm.
Yes, very, very much so.
All right, we're gonna find out. We're gonna talk about that some more. Sherod, let's now talk about your constituency. And I know you've been doing a whole lot of campaigning because I follow you.
The idyllic scene painted by my colleague is pretty much one in which I lived as a child growing up in South. Constituency 14 is South Rumville Park, Rumville Industrial Estate, which stretches from the back of South all the way past Roxanne Burnham, all the way past Shirley Field, Ridley, Container City, and goes all the way to the Demerara River. So it's a huge piece of real estate.
Wow.
But the people of South also are a very warm, hard-working set of folks. When I grew up in South, it was much of the same. Little crime, few petty crime. You could have almost gone to sleep and leave your windows and doors open. And we had a sense of community and a sense of family. Over the years, that has deteriorated. And that is one of the things we want to restore, that sense of family, that sense of community, that sense of ownership. When something happens at the community level, a person shouldn't, go and want to see the president and to protest. That the local government representatives in that area is their first contact with governance, with a governance structure. And it's only when that structure fails them, then, they go to a ministry or something like that. So, South, like most other places, we're looking to get better roads, better street lights. We want our drains and our interlocking drains to be flowing again with clean running water. We hear a lot that when we were children we sailed boats and so on in those drains.
You want to see children doing that again?
Yes. We want that sense of community. We want that sense of family. Youth groups also played a major part in my life growing up. Policing groups also have failed and malfunctioned over the years. So we want to rejuvenate those groups, not only for our young people, but also to protect our community and protect that sense of family, protect your assets, your property, and all of those things. So those are just some of the plans that we have for Constituency 14.
What are your fellow candidates, and meaning this is from the other groups and so on, are you intimidated? Is there
Not
some
at all.
sort of unease?
Not at all. I think one of the things that set me apart from them is the fact that I grew up in the area. From what I know of them, there are folks who moved into the area recently, and unless you didn't grow up in South, grew up in the NAMSTEL and Stouffville and so on, you don't understand some of the issues in those areas. You don't understand the rich history also. For instance, the buses from South used to go through by the police station first and then Tocqueville Bridge. Tocqueville Bridge was building up at one point, and they redirected the traffic towards the Shopping Plaza Bridge, and the traffic just never flowed back through Tocqueville Bridge in the same way. You won't understand that South had some major stores. South had, there was, for instance, South Rumville Gardens, where Dynasty is. There was a Chinese shop there. The Shopping Plaza was perhaps the first mall the country ever had. The Shopping Plaza was literally a whole host of shops, bakeries, restaurants, and all of that, right there at the Plaza Bridge.
You'd like to see something like that come back?
Definitely. It means more, even though it's not within the remit of the City Council, more jobs for our youth. We can't have too many jobs. It would mean the aesthetics of the area is going to be lifted. It means that we can have corporate responsibility, having those businesses in the area take more ownership for the area, the playgrounds, the parapets, and those issues, easing some of the burden off of city council and even off of central government. So, we're really looking to not only bring businesses in the area, and not only work with the businesses that are already in the area, but have that private-public partnership. There's a playing field right now. We call it the community center, being refurbished in Wren Avenue in South Ramsey Gardens. That is one of the things that we can use as a model. It's a community policing group in the area that came on board with government and got some funding privately and totally rehabilitating that area to the tunes of millions of dollars. Again, that is a kind of public-private partnership that can work in our community and that are working currently.
Have you been going door to door, and what are the responses like from the people?
Well, politics is retail, and so you have to go from door to door, and that's what we have been doing. And responses have been great. Any person who is living in Georgetown, and even outside of Georgetown, if you have not been seeing the changes in Georgetown, whether it is solid waste management, whether it's the aesthetics with the Merriman's Mall, the total refurbishment of the Durban Park Mall there, and all of the other areas in our city, right at the front of Roxanne Burnham Garden, that field there, it's totally, there used to be a whole host of bushes and jungle,
grass.
right? And grass. That is totally refurbished. The youths in that area now using that field to practice, to play football and a whole host of other sports in the afternoon. Again, it's about community.
Okay, all these things that you were mentioning have so far been done it's a collaborative effort between central government and the Georgetown City Council. And this question is basically to both of you. Are you going to use, and I'm not saying that anything is wrong with it, but are you going to use the progress made thus far since the APNU+AFC coalition took office, the progress that they've made countrywide, are you going to use that as leverage to say, this is why you should vote for me, I am a product of this government?
Yeah, because, because it doesn't make sense to do anything else, because this is a government who signaled to the community we're in that, these are the best people we think can represent your interests and our interests in the community also. And the government has made tremendous strides. 8 months in office, tremendous strides in the communities. So we aren't only talking about nationally, but in those very small communities, the government has made tremendous strides.
All right, Aurdell, do you want to comment on this?
Yeah, sure. You know what? My message is to everyone. My message to everyone is, I would have found that in the beginning, before I considered this, I, would have been hearing about the buzz and so on and so on. So I was thinking about it and speaking to a few of my, friends and so on in communities. I'm asking them, what do you think about this local government? Oh, I'm not voting, I'm not interested, blah, blah, blah. That's what you would be hearing a lot of. Then, when I decided to, take this stand and to, take the bull at the horn, so to speak, and go ahead with this, I realized that, a lot, they're coming, they're asking, they want to know now. So the fact is, and for those who are still out there that are saying, I'm not going to vote or I'm still thinking, at the end of the day, you are responsible for whatever the outcome is. Don't blame me, don't blame Sherod, don't blame Malika, don't even blame the government for this. Local government election is a choice. This is you. This is the decision at the end of the day that I am going to take. Because if things don't go the way you expected it or would like, it to go or to be.
Because you sat back.
Exactly. It's because you sat back and you fold your arm, I'm not interested. Then it's going to affect your child, your grandchild, and, all this, it's going to come back, to haunt you. So I don't know how how else you can convince them. They're seeing, like Chandas would have said, you walk around Georgetown, if you don't have eyes to see, you can smell it, no longer stinks. And it's happening in our communities. Hague, Blankenberg, NDC, other villages, Podrine, Stewartville, Iflot, things are happening, not just from my NDC, but Region 3. Things are happening, they're doing the roads, things are happening.
Okay,
that's what I can say.
Go ahead.
My point is, if you see the positive changes that are taking place in our communities, in the society in which we live, Why go on a promise of somebody else? Oh, we're going to fix the roads, but the roads are already being fixed. We're going to fix the lights, well, the lights are already being fixed. We're going to take care of solid waste management, but that's all already being done. Why settle for a promise when you can settle for reality? You can actually see what is happening in the community.
All right, I want to follow up on that. Viewers, if you're now tuning in, I'm chatting with Aurdell Glasgow and Sherod Duncan. They're both candidates in the local government elections, which is going to be on the 18th of March, 2016. To both of you, I was at a recent PNC General Council, and I heard one of the leaders saying, advising against persons who may say, because we may have voters who will tell you, well, you know, to use our language, to get down into Creolese, why I want to come and vote? We don't vote. Granges we buy. Moses is we buy. We don't put them in there already. I don't need to come and vote for anything else. We already got them. What would you say to people who actually have that mindset currently? Both of you.
I would say don't get complacent. May 11th was not an end in itself. It was a beginning. Do not get complacent. And there is a full measure of democracy that has to be rolled out in our nation. And national elections is just part of that. Local government election plays an even more important role, again, because the persons you choose to represent you in your community is your first contact with governance and government in our country. That should be your first contact. So anything that goes wrong in your community, those are the people you should be holding responsible first and foremost. When those persons fail, then you go on to central government. But the first contact you have in your community should be your councillor. And that is why local government elections are of utmost importance, because monies are going to be given to the constituents, and monies are going to be given to city council and the NDCs and so on to fix issues in those communities. And that is why you have to be able to hold those persons responsible. Right? But if you don't have a ticket, you don't have a vote, you don't have a chance, you didn't make your voice heard. So how can you say, oh, I don't have lights, but then you didn't put into power the persons who are responsible for putting the lights in place?
That's true.
Right? So, I think everybody should get involved, come out, don't get complacent, and vote. And let me make a plug for the Georgetown launch of our campaign, which is happening this evening at 6 o'clock
Go ahead,
at Turning
Sherod.
Point
Yes.
in Tugville. The APNU+AFC launch of their local government election campaign is officially going to be this afternoon, 6 o'clock, Turning Point in Tugville, be no place else.
All right, I'm going to come back to that for 1 second. As it relates to the launch, and viewers, just so there's no confusion, I've never been anywhere else or been affiliated to any other party other than the PNC and the Partnership for National Unity. And now, by extension, the Alliance for Change because of the coalition government. So I'm a part of that. But Sherod, I want to talk to you about the launch a bit more. But before I do that, Sherod and Aurdell, now, the president's, one of his vision, His Excellency Brigadier David Granger, one of his visions is for us to get back to that period in life when we talked about it earlier, when we were our brother's keepers. And this is specifically to communities. And this is even local government elections aside and leaders aside. What suggestions or recommendations would you have for us to getting back to close-knit communities? Because the fact is, what happens now, we live in our communities. Even though we live there, we just go there to sleep, we spend weekends there, and we leave and we come out to work, and then we go back, and we're not cognizant of what is happening around us. Where is your neighbor's child? Children are getting into things easier. I can go back to even a phrase where we always say, let's get back to the days when it took a village to raise a child.
Exactly.
What are some of your recommendations in terms of getting us back to this warmth and this love and this really community feeling? Again, local government elections aside.
All right. What's the perfect example? We were in Essequibo together, Malika,
Yes.
and this lady Monica, when she came to us, and she said, I have an issue. I need to see one of the ministers. I said to her, concerning, because you had to know what the issues are or what the issue is before you direct them to a minister. And she said, there is somebody, this woman has a child and she's locked in this room, and I just need somebody. So I thought it was just a nosy neighbor, so to speak, just wanted to get down to their business. I called Imran and I said to Imran, all right, this is the issue. Imran said, all right, let her go ahead. So sent her through, and we all know the results today. We know what had happened there. So for me, that's a perfect example of being involved in your community and your community's business.
Yeah, because it's
They
interesting.
can call you nosy if you like,
Right,
and
but-
all these names, but at the end of the day, the concern for that woman was the way this human being was being treated. That's
And
the concern.
the other side of the coin too, it is interesting that you brought up that story, because strange enough, and this is for viewers who wasn't following the story. Strange enough, some people are saying that this young woman was locked up for a year. Others are saying it's about 10 years. And I'm saying, if you're your brother's keeper in your community,
And you know this.
only now
Exactly,
somebody is coming
exactly.
forward. I mean, people even made claims saying that they complained, but the authorities did not,
Yes.
Again, she was probably considered,
Yes.
a nosy neighbor.
Yes,
I mean,
that's
Sherod.
what she
Yeah,
was
but I think it's a perfect illustration of how we can be our brother's keeper. And in the communities we live in, we take too much for granted. I mean, my neighbor is like that. She would tell you, somebody came, and they saw strange persons looking around the place and that kind of stuff. That is the kind of community we're talking about. But beyond that, is being able to help and assist also. That they have kids who go to school hungry, who go to school with slippers on in the city. It's just going that extra mile while there's a little house on one side of the street and it's a big mansion right next door. The disparity of income and wealth in some instances, so we can go an extra mile and sometimes find out you miss somebody, are they sick, are they okay, and that doesn't cost us anything to say hello, to say good morning. Sometimes you tell somebody good morning and they don't even answer. Right?
Some people think
Yep.
it's too far.
So it's getting back to those very basic things. You said it perfectly. It takes a village to raise a child, and over time we have lost sight of that. That we, the poet Martin Luther says this too. That all are involved and all are consumed. It takes us together to make our communities thrive once more. It's going to take a lot of effort. No one person can do it. No one mayor can do it. No one councillor can do it. No one president can do it also. It will take all of us working together as Guyanese to really and truly move our communities forward.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about the launch a bit before I raise. It's unfortunate, but in most campaigns, if not every campaign, there is always some sort of mudslinging, and we try to stay away from that. So there's a controversial issue I will raise with Sherod. I don't know why I'm always so familiar with these controversial young men. If it's not James, and I hope he's watching, it's Sherod. But Sherod, let's talk about the launch first. The launch this evening, a Turning Point, Georgetown launch. Coming out of the launch and even after the launch, what are some of the things we can expect for the Georgetown candidates in the APNU+AFC, the local government elections?
You can expect some rigorous campaigning. People can expect to see us more, because we've already been on the ground, but see us even more in those areas, getting the word out, what we stand for, what we plan to do in those areas, what we plan to continue doing also in those areas. I would advise residents, don't be timid, engage the young people that you'll see coming around from all the parties, get an understanding and appreciation of the issues. We'll be telling persons to why you should vote, and what are the reasons why you should vote, and all of that. Voter education is critical. As you said before, we aren't voting for mayor. You have to be elected a councillor first,
yes.
and then the councillors together elect that mayor. So, just being able to understand and appreciate the elections process and what the issues are and why it's so important for all of us to go out and vote.
All right. And on the note of the fact that we're electing a councillor, we're electing councillors who will then elect the mayor. Somebody in Georgetown has been touted by so many persons as for mayor. Sherod, let me come out and ask you blunt. You're a candidate. What is going on with Sherod Duncan, the candidate, and Mark Benchcup, the candidate?
Well, I think Mark Benchcup and his team has to speak for him. I can speak for me.
Well, speak for Sherod.
I am happy to serve my community.
Okay.
And that is why I put myself up to continue serving the people of South. I think I have a lot to offer. And when elected as councillor, I am willing to serve in any capacity should those councillors need.
in the event that Sherod is put forward, and of course this is so the viewers can get an understanding of what's happening, in the event that Sherod, and I'll even come to Aurdell, well, Aurdell is Region 3, so she can't be the mayor of Georgetown, but in the event that Sherod is put
She
forward,
could be the chairwoman.
would it be something that you would accept, embrace, because there is still the sentiment that young people are not necessarily ready for leadership, and these are leadership roles that young people are trying to fill. Would Sherod Duncan embrace such a position or such nomination?
I would embrace it with all humility. I would say that the councillors are elected by the people and from the people, and if that is the will of the people through their councillors, I would be more than happy to serve in that capacity.
What's the response like from young people? Because most of you who've been following Sherod Duncan, you know this is not the first we're hearing about Sherod. You remember Captain Clean? Well, if you didn't know, Sherod Duncan was his
alter ego.
That's right. It's a good alter ego, Sherod. Based on not only that, because that's what I'm saying, you've been involved in this for a while, as a public official for a while. What are the responses like from the younger population? Because the fact is, we have young people who are, some of them, they're struggling for an example or examples to hold on to. Some of them are unfortunately confused. What are the responses like from the young population?
The older folks, as you said, they are sometimes at a loss for the imagination. But the young people, the adolescents, the children have bought into, for instance, the whole notion of Captain Clean and the superhero who goes around, transforming garbage and picking up garbage and has all these superpowers and all that. They're totally sold on that. But Captain Clean is more than just about picking up garbage. We can talk about clean air. We can talk about renewable energy, which is something we have to be weaned off of all of these fossil fuels and come to clean and natural sources of energy. Those are things we have to begin to talk about at the community level also. And a whole host of other stuff. Recycling, upcycling, because all of those are relevant to the communities. All of that we get a chance to talk about whenever I throw on my suit and cape.
Before I come back to Aurdell, you started all of this, especially the cleanup campaign, way before you were publicly affiliated with a political party or a political body. How did it make you feel after the APNU+AFC coalition took office, and then you heard sentiments from His Excellency David Granger, sentiments about making Guyana green, cleaning up the city and so on? Did you felt some sort of vindication?
Yeah, because I always knew that at some point we were going to try to, in a major way, to restore our capital. We often grew up hearing about the Garden City and all of that. And so it was tremendously heartening for me when I realized that the government was going to move in this direction, and when we began to see also the buy-in from the public, and there was that massive, historic cleanup of Georgetown.
Yes. Let me go to Aurdell with this one, and of course I'd like a response from you to Sherod. Many have said that the local government elections at the community level may be far more important than elections at what I would like to term national level. Both of you, beginning with you, Aurdell, do you see this participation in local government election as some sort of a stepping stone that can propel you to higher heights?
Oh yes, definitely, because I chose to be a councillor instead of a first past the post candidate because I want to start from the bottom. I want to climb up that step. I don't want to stay at the top of the step and then just reach to the top of the building. I want to walk up that step. I want to take my time and get there. I don't want to rush anything. So I see this as a tremendous opportunity to start and to get, the understanding of how things are done. You just don't rush, to get things done. You take your time and you get it, and you get there as well.
Okay, Sherod?
Great. I believe exactly that life is about stages, and you go from stage to stage, from glory to glory, as we say in the Christian faith, and we have to look at people carefully who seem to be all over the place. One day you're running for president, next day you're running for mayor, next day you want to be a doctor, next day you want to be a scientist. Life is about focus, and I love people who have focus. You choose something and you choose to do that well. And I want to have, at the end of my life, people say he had a life of service to his nation. And so, again, in stages, I think this is the first stage where people get to see you and how you can serve and how you can lead. And if it goes on to greater and higher things, praise God.
Sherod, I must ask you in the youth language and the social media language, were you just throwing shade? Did you just throw shade, Sherod? Now Sherod is going to...
I'm not totally...
He's not totally okay with
I'm
what
going with
shade
social
is.
media language.
You know, that is actually the perfect response from a politician. So I am proud of Sherod today. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to begin to wrap up, but I'd like you to leave some sentiments again with young persons who may be looking up to you and young people who are now getting their feet on the ground and thinking, well, you know what, I can probably get involved in politics to an extent, and then the next time when local government elections next come around, of course this will be I think it's in the next 3 years after the May 18 local government election, I may want to jump in the race and so on. What sentiments and thoughts would you like to leave with these young people? And apart from that, I give you another opportunity to plug for votes for yourselves, for the constituencies, beginning with you, Aurdell.
Yeah, what I want to leave with them is first thing, you have to be dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 sons. Mm-hmm. I'm a single mother, and I'm doing this. Not because of me. I am no politician, but guess what? I want my children to have a brighter future. I want my children's children to have a brighter future. I want my cousins, my friends' children, to have a brighter future. I want every young person to know that nothing is impossible. You can dream how big you are, but nothing, you can dream your dream and live your dreams. Mm-hmm. Nothing is impossible.
Okay, all right.
And I support that too as a father of 2,
Yes.
2 sons. But also, I remember towards the culmination of the 2015 general elections, Nigel Hughes, who I'm a great fan of, had written a beautiful letter on Facebook about the importance of voting, of how our ancestors struggled for this right with blood, sweat, and tears, that we can vote and exercise our democratic franchise. Mm-hmm. So even if it's from that standpoint, of that historic standpoint, that responsibility, it has been a long 19-year struggle to get local government elections, and no person, old or young, should take them lightly. Also, if you want to see your communities move forward, if you want to see them progress, if you want to see them thrive, then you should get out, get up, get informed, get out on March 18th and vote. And I'm certain when you look around our country and you're seeing the positive changes, you will vote for the APNU+AFC candidates.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Thank you so very much to both of you. It was certainly delightful to have you both.
Thank you for having
Ms.
me.
Aurdell Glasgow, of course, that is from Region 3, one of the Region 3 candidates. And of course, Mr. Sherod Duncan, one of the Region 4 candidates. And again, just a reminder, as Sherod did tell you, the Region 4 part of the campaign is being launched this evening at Turning Point. So ensure that you go out, support, and not only support, but you're going to hear, to listen to what these candidates, especially the young people. Of course, I am a young person, so I'm a big championer of the cause for young people. So focus on especially our young candidates. Listen to them, listen to what they have to say. We know what our leaders are going to come and tell you because we're accustomed to them. We've heard them before. They've taught so many of us. They've mentored so many of us. Yes. But this is the time to give a little more focus to our young persons, our young candidates. We are obviously the future leaders, not to sound like a cliche. This is where I have to take my leave from Facing the Nation this week. Of course, join me next week for another edition. As I always urge you, be good Guyanese citizens, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. I'm Malika Ramsey. Goodbye.